Yep.
It appears we do not have a quorum to take a vote. But having said that, there is one item that's very important that should be taken up today. On advice of Counsel Richmond, who reads the bylaws thoroughly, it seems the bylaws have screwed up again. The bylaws call for that the budget has to be presented to the delegates within 10 days of its appearance. Unfortunately, it can't possibly this month because the executive board meets about 12 days, 7 to 12 days after the offices. So under no condition could we comply with the bylaws as to delivering it 7 days because the attendance, because the executive board will only allow us, if they don't change the meeting, to present it within 7 days. So I'm bringing that up because Richard brought it up. I thought it was a very important point. Who's to say they can't change the date? But as of this moment, I don't think anybody's aware of it except Richard that I know about. And so therefore, in order to be in compliance with the bylaws, if everybody had the total budget today, it wouldn't mean a thing.
Unless you had the committees change their meetings.
Well, that's,
Or have.
I have to
emergency.
change what's in the bylaws, and no one came to us on the executive board. And so it's a good thing we have the hawk here.
What's to say that the committees, the executive board and the officers can't be asked to have a budget meeting?
The answer is the officers volunteered that they would be prepared to have an executive meeting. I think that only includes the officers though, unless it's changed. But no one has come forth from the executive board. Had they had it, we would, at this point, we could request it, but no one's requested it at this time. Having said that, I have an itinerary of one contract, which I emailed to everybody. However, we have been informed that that's not the real contract, although it came with a bill from Cheryl Connick, and it said signed it here. So I think it's a good thing that that was brought to our attention, because or else we would just be spinning the wheels. And I'm sure, I'm never sure, because I have a special comment for Breeze Wine. It took an hour and a half yesterday and they couldn't get my TV to work. And I was prepared to go through it. However, tomorrow we'll have the regular contract. If there is another one, I don't doubt it, but it would be interesting now to compare what Shell Connick said is okay and what actually came out on that particular contract. Also, I was searching for Leo's contract, and there is another contract that goes with the Breeze Line contract, which is the rental agreements. And I think that's an important part of the review here, because they are occupying a building that we went upside down on byways, gave up 2 properties for one, so they could be accommodated. And according to this, they're supposed to have someone there. Actually, I think it said 3 for a period of time, 2 for a period of time, 1 for a period of time. And that's valuable space. They got a break, $1 a square foot. if that building is zoned for commercial, I guarantee you in 2 days, you'll get bids for excess of $1 a square foot. So these are important points, and I welcome, you say you have one, and
No, I don't.
uh,
I don't have one.
I-
I remember seeing
oh,
the original
but,
signed document, but
hold
this
on.
was back maybe
Ruth,
4 years
do
ago.
you have one?
I don't have.
I
it.
don't know. I don't know if I still have it, but I know this is not it.
Well, that's good.
What contract?
I've been searching the Z
Atlantic
drive.
Broadband, Atlantic Broadband.
The actual final document that was signed.
2017.
17.
Right after I moved to Century Village, so I remember the date, because I looked at the contract maybe 6 months later,
Right,
and I thought, oh, I wish I had been here. So I.
Was that contract printed in the paper?
No,
do
no,
you remember seeing a cover letter from Michelle Connick
yes,
with her? Oh, that's, all right, that's the one I sent, all right, we'll see what we come up with.
but I believe there were multiple.
Yeah, Barbara.
Okay,
I just want to ask something. I saw the contract you sent then, but it has no signatures on it.
Yeah, I don't believe it's the final contract.
I mean,
That came,
it
that
should have
came,
signatures on it.
all
that
right,
came with a bill and a letter from Shell Conic saying it's okay.
all right. How many members are in this committee? I just want to, we have,
7.
so we have, are you on it?
No.
Oh, so we
We
have
only have
3 of
2
7?
members. Only
No,
two
you have
Members.
3 of
Oh, I'm
7.
sorry.
And Barbara, I'm sorry.
Right, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, we need.
You don't have a
we need
quorum.
fourth.
All right,
The White House is president. So we got 4.
what?
No,
Where?
you have 3.
Where?
Well, I bet even though we can vote, I think it would be an error.
You can't vote.
You can't vote.
Oh, Ed.
All right, what's the question about the breeze line anyhow?
Yeah.
What is the
What's it
problem?
got to do?
The
with-
problem is that according to what I read here and to what I heard at various meetings, they're not living up to their contracts. It's very
Specifically,
simple.
what-
In what way?
There's an interesting paragraph in this one that may have been eliminated because several what they call better channels are put right into this contract, one of which was definitely removed in the last discussion that we had. It said they don't have to have it, they could remove whatever they want.
That was
So
in the
it would be
contract. They can't-
interesting
Well,
to see what
The
Shell
caveat-
Conic wrote and what we signed.
the copy I sent you said that they may replace a deleted channel.
May,
May means they don't have to. We went over this in the broadband committee meeting, and I'm sure we'll go over it in the next one in 2 weeks.
Right.
So it's a may. So where's the violation?
The violation,
Unless it's been totally changed.
well, that's a big question
All right,
because we have a challenge here.
we'll dig it up.
And this is what Shell Conic submitted.
All right, I have a comment on this.
Excuse me?
I have a comment on some of this. Because I have a lot of residents that have problems with the TVs. When they started taking away some of the channels, one of them was that Newsmax. They said because now it's getting too expensive to give us Newsmax, it went up in price.
Right.
And that's why we're losing some of the channels.
One thing that's in this contract was the starting price, right? I think it said $29 in this one. Okay. And also, if you go to the lease, it has specific items. I didn't bring in the lease yet because this, I just feel it would be an error to vote on this until we get what you feel is the real contract, because I think it's,
And what would we vote on?
yeah, I was just gonna say,
What is it, whether this was the proper contract or not, what is it that we're gonna vote on that's gonna impact the 2023 budget?
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you. There is a paragraph in here if you default. And one of the things it says either side defaults for certain things. Now, if they defaulted because it's in the real contract, every contract is negotiable. It's an agreement or disagreement with two parties. And when you said it's very expensive, I think it's overly expensive. And at another meeting, I brought out that it's UCO's responsibility to provide television, not 302 channels, not this, not that. Basic television. And I know someone who is in a very expensive condominium, basic TV is all they get. The other thing that came up, and I brought it up, is inasmuch as we have to provide TV, and Mr. Israel confirmed this, that if we just had a good size antenna, which was here when he had just the building moved in or with his parents, and that covered 20 some odd channels. Now, $3.5 million is not chicken feed. And you'll have a chance. $3.5 million is not chicken feed. I don't say you can do it today, but I'd like to see the contract if they breached it. And generally speaking, I think there is a paragraph in this one, the worst that could happen, if I'm not reading this wrong, we would have to return the part of the
Gateway.
what they call beautification fee, which we have a reserve for, and that would be a lot cheaper than $3.5 million.
But you're suggesting, I'm sorry, Barbara had her hand up.
So did
Yeah,
Ruth.
I think what Joanne said and what I think she's getting to is that regardless of all the stuff you're saying, Ed, what she's asking is, where would an impact come on our budget as of the way it stands now and the increase we get this year? Am I right, Joanne?
Yes, please, that's exactly, this is a budget meeting,
Well,
not
the
a
answer is,
broadband meeting.
Also,
you're asking the wrong person, because if you could eliminate $3.5 million in 2023, that's gonna impact the budget.
that's the
So-
prerogative of the broadband committee
Mhm.
first,
No.
not the finance.
You know something? That is a misinterpretation. Give it to this committee, or give it to another committee, or give it to
No,
another.
the broadband committee has to make the contract, one
Wow.
way or the other.
But the finance can
And,
prepare a budget. And if you prepare a budget, it's a line item. It should be vetoed. And I personally feel, how many people use 302 channels?
But that's a broadband committee
bring it
issue.
up either at broadband or delegate assembly.
Right?
It's not the finance committee that can say, we want fewer channels.
The finance committee could prepare a budget. That budget could omit $3.5 million.
So what you're suggesting is we default on the contract.
My first suggestion is, in order to vote on this, I'd like to see the real contract.
But let's
Okay.
say
Yeah,
the real
that's-
contract is very similar.
Well,
And it has this default language that you're
well,
referring to.
that's one of the things to
You
be
suggested
determined.
we default on the contract.
How do you
in order
know?
to save
How do
$3
you,
million.
how do you know we defaulted until we see what they're supposed to give us?
We have a contract
So
and it costs us $3 million a year.
3.5, right?
Okay, whatever that figure is. Now, in order to save that money, you have to default the contract.
You're
How else
making
would
an
you save
assumption.
it?
Maybe they're in default.
How are you gonna pay that money?
It's very simple. We have the money. We didn't recognize all the income. It's being spread out over the life of the contract. It's on our books as a liability. And that money can easily be paid.
Well, we can't vote on it anyhow, so why discuss it right
Well,
now?
because you can vote it. You're misinterpreting.
We have only.
We don't have a
Finance-
quorum.
Excuse me. You're misinterpreting. This is if it's all voted, it's the finance committee's proposal. It has to be turned down or accepted by the delegate assembly.
It's not a proposal until we vote on it. We have only 3 of 7.
And we can't
But
vote.
we can't vote.
Well, I'm not voting today under any condition. It would be an error to vote. I want to, if there is another contract, and this is what Shell Connick, who is an expert, approved, I'd like to see what was changed after her approval.
Wait until the next finance committee meeting that has some contract. I'll bring my hard copy and we have a quorum, then we'll discuss it.
Well, I think that's a wonderful idea, but I'd like to see the original
All
contract.
right, that's what I just said. Let's move on.
That's it. As far as I'm concerned, I make a motion to adjourn. I don't want to keep.
That's better still.
All right,
Ed, I just want to say something. Whatever contract you send me, as far as I'm concerned, I can read 10 contracts, but if they don't have a signature on it, it doesn't mean nothing.
Very good. I'd like to see it too.
Are we,
No.
So,
are we?
Joanne, thank you very much.
All I had was
You're
what he just
welcome,
gave me.
Barbara.
Bye, Barbara.
Bye. Bye,
everybody
Ruth.
have
Bye,
a good
everyone.
day.
I'm printing all my.